Nicole got a huge buff with the new Phaethon's Melody set, so let's see just how good it is. Today's testing will be with Yanagi, Miyabi, and Evelyn. Of course, all three will be paired with Astra and Nicole, since you still want to use Astral Voice if Nicole is the solo support. We won't be doing comparisons between teams since we're primarily looking at the damage increase or decrease from this new set. I'll show you the two builds for Nicole. My Phaethon's Melody set has 130 less attack, but both setups have 293 AP, which was the main thing I wanted the same. 130 attack is also not that big of a deal, so there won't be a huge damage difference. Shall we start with everyone's favorite Void Hunter? Interestingly, Miyabi benefited less from this setup than I expected, even though there was still a noticeable difference in Nicole's anomaly output. With Swing Jazz, scores were around 43 to 45k, while Phaethon's Melody was around 44 to 46k. I forgot to swap Astra to Lucy's W engine for these runs, so the score should be about 2 to 3k higher. Whoops. Out of all the Astra Nicole teams I've tried, Miyabi's definitely feels the worst to play. I imagine it would feel way better with C2. For some reason, Nicole feels clunky with Miyabi and I can't quite figure out why, but maybe that's just me. Either way, you can expect a 2 to 4% damage increase with the new set for this team. Nothing considerable, but probably worth making the switch at some point. For Miyabi's pink-haired counterpart, the damage gain is much bigger. My scores with Swing Jazz were 45 to 47k, while Phaethon's Melody was 48 to 51k. You can expect a roughly 7 to 9% increase for Yanagi teams, which is actually pretty big. This makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Yanagi's damage is a lot more focused on Disorder, and she even buffs Disorder for her teammates. Since this set buffs Nicole's anomaly damage and application, it just brings the whole team up with her. Out of all the Astra Nicole teams I've tried, this team feels the most comfy to play. Between Yanagi and Nicole, you have almost infinite iframes. You can also use Astra's quick assist to bring Nicole on field to trigger corruptions if Astra herself isn't triggering them. This team prints decibels during stun windows. You can ult at her at 70-ish days and still get your ult back for the stun window. I would definitely recommend using this team and getting Nicole on Phaethon's Melody if you do. If you made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, otherwise Astra will be really sad. Thank you. Anyway, these results make sense so far. For the most part, Nicole is being used as a secondary support that plays a bit like an anomaly sub DPS. Evelyn can't take advantage of Nicole's anomaly application as much, unless you run 4-set Chaotic Metal. Hear me out. Evelyn's in a weird spot right now where her best 4-set is Woodpecker Electro, which is not the greatest to begin with, but even worse on her because she's not really supposed to dodge counter. With Nicole and Astra, you can actually get pretty good uptime on corruption. The only problem is Evelyn's own anomaly application getting in the way, which it did, many times. Despite that, it still performed competitively against the other two setups. For Swing Jazz and Phaethon's Melody, I was using Evelyn on 222 set, so do keep that in mind. With Nicole on Swing Jazz, Evelyn got between 42 to 45k because I'm a little inconsistent with this team and far too used to having lighter instead of Nicole. Thankfully that trend continued for Phaethon's Melody where my scores were between 42 and 46k. As for Chaotic Metal, it was somehow the most consistent, scoring between 43 and 44k. What I'm saying is get lighter. In all seriousness though, despite the variance in their own scores, both Miyabi and Yanagi showed a clear benefit in running Nicole on an anomaly build. This could be partially due to the additional disorders, allowing more of the corruption DOT to be triggered. If you're unaware, the corruption anomaly ticks every 0.5 seconds when you hit the enemy, making fast and frequent disorders the best way to capitalize on potential damage. As I mentioned before, for solo support Nicole, you do want to run Astral Voice, however Swing Jazz can be an option if you actively use Nicole's chain attack. As we saw with Evelyn, you don't really want to use Nicole's chain attack for a measly 15% damage boost when you could instead give Evelyn an extra chain attack. The same problem occurs for Jian and Haramasa, making Astral Voice the better 4-set for Nicole in these teams with its 24% damage and much easier activation. The only reason we're considering Swing Jazz on Nicole in these tests is because Astra's already running Astral Voice. So in conclusion, Nicole in anomaly teams definitely prefers this new set, letting her truly be the sub DPS she was always meant to be. For attack teams, you might not see a significant difference, so if you already have Swing Jazz or Astral Voice, you don't need to refarm. For mono either, I still recommend Chaotic Metal if you can get crazy good crit stats, but Phaethon's Melody 2-set might help enough with anomaly uptime that you opt into running it. Since Nicole doesn't inherently get any anomaly mastery, an 8% boost to her application is actually really good, and can also be used with Swing Jazz 4-set if you prefer. Well, that's Nicole's second buff in 2 patches. Did you expect a free character from the start of the game to thrive this much? Let me know in the comments down below, like and sub to see more videos, join the Discord in bio, and I'll see you later.